Now, typically on Holocaust Memorial Day, we listen to the stories of those who personally lived through the Nazi regime's atrocities. But while my guest today is a Holocaust survivor, he's anything but typical. I'm joined by survivor and TikTok star at The True Adventures with Gideon and Julie, Gidon Lev. Gideon, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here with me. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so my first question to you, you were one of fewer than 100 children who survived the Theresienstadt camps, lost 26 members of your family, and as I understand it, was only survived with your mother through the Holocaust. What does Holocaust Memorial Day then mean to you?
Well, Holocaust Memorial Day means to me that this specific day I try and share my experience and my memories with other people, especially young people, so that anything like it will never, ever happen again. Not only to Jews, but to other peoples. I know that we on Tik-Tok have actually come across a great deal of anti-Semitism and hate towards all kinds of things. And I think it's something that we have to deal with, and I personally try, together with my partner, Julie Gray, to face it and speak. I mean, sometimes people say hateful things and deny that there was such a thing. I said, please, bring him on. I'm willing to. I wish, halavai, that there wasn't a Holocaust. I would have had my family. I would have had a childhood.
So I mean, again, you probably, as you just mentioned, see a lot of disinformation about the Holocaust online and misinformation as well. Is that a part of why you're doing what you're doing?
Yes, I would say so. Yes, it wasn't to begin with, because to begin with, we went on to TikTok because we wrote a book, The True Adventures of Gidon Lev, and we wanted to sell more copies, of course. But toch kedei kach, as it went on, and as we started appearing and facing and hearing and seeing, we did realize that we have almost a more important job to do here.
So, all right, I want to talk a little bit more about your TikTok and online social media fame. What brought you into this type of media, and how do you explain, or how do you think, the explanation is that the large majority of your viewers are likely, middle school-aged kids, and what does that mean to you?
Oh, I think that's fantastic. I think that's one of the best things that has happened. And as a result of that, we Zoomed with kids all over the world, including, for example, Mexico. And there were hardly any Jewish people living in that specific little village. And they asked questions. Obviously, they didn't know very much, but the fact that they met somebody who said, yes, I lost my family. I was hungry from morning till evening. I was able to connect, and I was able to explain, and I hope to inspire them to learn more, to study hard, to take history seriously, and then to remember what it is.
All right, so you also have a segment called Ask a Holocaust Survivor Anything. What's the best question that you think you've been asked?
Oh, that's a hard question.
One of the best.
One of the best questions that I think one of the hardest questions that I've been asked was, well, you were 6 years old, not even 6, when you came to the concentration camp. So what did you do? How did you survive? What was your day like? One of the things that I remember, and of course I will never forget, is hunger. To be hungry from morning to night, from night to morning. Never feel that you had enough to eat. Because all they gave us, the Germans, was a slice of bread, black bread, and a bowl of soup. So one of the things that kids like me did is try and find ways and places where we could somehow find, steal, anything that was edible.
Living in the land of the Jewish people, is there something that maybe you'd wish to say with that in mind to the family that you lost? You know, what would you have wanted them to know with what you know now?
All of us that survived have a very specific, very individual story to tell. And not all of us have or were able to tell that. I am lucky that for many years I didn't even talk about the Holocaust. I didn't even think. Why? Because I was concentrating on building a new life in a new country that is our own. And I wish those families that had people survive to understand it and accept it or acknowledge it as something more important than dwelling on the Holocaust. I didn't dwell on the Holocaust. I came to Israel in 1959 to be rebuilt and to build.
Gidon Lev, again, I just want to say how happy I am to be sitting across this table from you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
ILTV Plus, your news from Israel and more 24/7. Start your free trial today. Subscribe at iltv.tv and watch from any device.